big is your team right now?
The team lean. We got different businesses. So like for Supermind, it's like maybe 5 or 6 people. Cause we do our distribution and our own packaging. Feel me? I got a partner with that. Then we got media. It's probably like only a 4-person team right now. Sometimes it go up to like 5, 6. And then we hire contractors as we move around and do stuff, city to city, photographers, videographers. And then other businesses like 2, 3, 4 people each.
That's fire, man. Y'all booming.
I'm trying not to hire nobody and trying to replace everybody with AI.
Nah, that's the way. We live right now? Okay, wait. So we're gonna get into AI for sure, for sure. AI is crazy.
Yeah, it's retarded.
AI is crazy. But the first thing I do want to get into though, bro, is like, and I have to, because I feel like I'm in a space, and my brother over there, we work on it all the time. It's like this branding thing, right? You got something that I feel like OVO, Drake, shit, Meek Mill, there's certain people when like they squad or they team walks in the room, you like, oh, there go them OVO niggas. Like, that, you have that. Or even to the point where like today when you shot me your line, you was like, yo, this is my mouth. I was like, I'm finna hit you. I caught myself finna be like, peace, God. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like the brand is so strong and it's so like abrasive. I'm always curious to like how you home, because I feel like you got to be very, is it meticulous to even like,
I mean, it's intentional. It's intentional for sure. You got to kind of, I grew up in it though. You feel me? Like I was immersed in it from when I was a child, growing up in, God body world. You feel me? To where the school I went to had the Star and Crescent everywhere. The brothers that was outside in the environment in Oakland, California, dressed up, suit, bow tie, took over the neighborhood. You feel me? Running businesses, things of that nature. So for me, it's like DNA.
Okay.
You feel me? And I feel like if you go build a brand, build it based on your DNA, who you are, something that feels authentic to you, to where it's like, I wear this crown for like the last 10 years now, and it never feels like I'm wearing it. You feel me? It just feels like an extension of me.
Mm-hmm.
So that sun, moon, and star, I put that on as just like a representation of, that frequency that I exist on. And then the people around me in the space that I want to be on, when they see that, they reflect that. And then it's like a connection to other people. Like you say, peace, God, it's a reminder. Mm-hmm. But if I'm wearing like some chrome hearts, what's that connection? That ain't no cultural connection. Mm-hmm. You feel me? Like, we wear a lot of people brands that don't actually mean nothing to us. It also just represents like we stimulating somebody else's economy. Mm-hmm. You feel me? But I'm intentional about world building. You feel me? Like, we at this point in time now where every single thing you do should be telling your story. Mm-hmm. You feel me? Like, you get to control your own narrative. So yeah, I'm intentional. Everything I got on damn near we done designed and made, to this jacket, the hat. You feel me? The chain. Yeah. My brothers and them over there, they brand, and the pants and all of that. We got the Supermind coffee. Everything is a meaning to us. Yeah. So yeah, we believe in being intentional with everything we do.
You said building your world. What is your world?
So my world, is a world where we fight against our enemies. And those enemies is like distraction. Those enemies is like boulayism. Those enemies is like a lack of ownership. You feel me? Those enemies is like black men not being united. You feel me? Us not owning the culture. Like, I feel like in order to understand my world, you got to understand my enemies. You feel me? And so the world is then built around us going on that journey and fighting those enemies. Mm-hmm. You feel me? Like, if you ever hear me lecture and give a speech, it's all about how do I help somebody free their own mind. Not how I can become their leader, but how do I give you the tools to increase your capacity and your clarity? Men around me, it's like, no, we go be competent masculine. We not gonna be that fake performative masculinity that you see online. I call it being homosocial, where it's like these new cats, man, they homosocial. You feel me? They doing everything for men, barely can talk to women. You feel me? And they performative in like they masculinity. You feel me? And it's no longer about it's a thesis that I've been writing this paper as I've been putting together my book. It's called Social Orientation Inversion, right? Which is basically looking at how men used to get social status in society, based on their competencies, the skills that you can do, you feel me, where you exist inside your male group, your rites of passage and things of that nature. And now it's been inverted. So now men are getting their status through external things rather. Mm-hmm. You feel me? Based on, you heard of the whole looks maxing thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's a very homosocial you feel me, situation going on. They try to just look the part. Let me just look like a man, and then I get the comments because they've been algorithmically feminized. You feel me?
Yeah, that's a fact.
So even in my world, man, I utilize my own lingo because I'm somebody who seeks find patterns and try to like conceptualize it in a way to where people can understand what I'm talking about. So for me, it's all about giving frameworks, ways to think, ways to see the world. You feel me? And just essentially ways to free yourself.
When did you get like super clear on that identity or that world? Or has it always just been, like you said, DNA?
I feel like I grew up in Oakland and St. Louis. I was born in St. Louis, moving when I was like 1 to the Bay Area to Oakland, California. And growing up in like this black, militant, Muslim environment, then at the same time growing up in the streets, you feel me? I just lived in this dichotomy, you feel me? Like of righteousness, so-calledly, and then the street element at the same time. And so for me, seeing that dichotomy, it was always trying to, especially when you're in the streets, you explaining to people like the other side of things. And I feel like you kind of naturally flow into being a teacher because you almost feel sorry for the people who don't know. You feel me? And ignorance, we say is bliss, but it costs. You feel me? Like black people in America kind of figuring out our cost of ignorance. You feel me? Not understanding how IP works, not understanding how ownership works, not understanding how these media platforms work. Like all of that ignorance has cost us truly our freedom. And now our present is, the future that we were supposed to own, but we don't.
Yeah.
You feel me? And so just kind of coming back to it, when I was young, like, these are the conversations we would have growing up in black Muslim schools. And then I would translate those conversations to cats that I knew in the streets. Not that it worked or anything. It wasn't, you feel me? Not that they was listening, you feel me? But this was just always my mindset. I just always figured this to be normal. It was never something special to me. And then, I caught me a case. I caught a few cases, you feel me? And one of my last ones was reminded me that as I feel like when you get in trouble, you start making all kind of promises to God. And
right when it happened. If you
let me just get this one more and I'm good. You feel me? And he did. He got me to the point where it said not guilty. And after I heard that next to my name, after going through like the most stressful situation that I had ever been through at that time, I just decided to keep my promise. Like,
what was it?
It was an assault case. You know what I mean? So they said that we beat somebody up, and we didn't. Got found not guilty, of course. And I just memories.
So, who beat him up? Is it?
Man, nobody beat him up, man. He got beat up by a ghost, and he complained about supernatural things. He didn't know what was going on. But let's just say, according to the courts, you understand me? And in America, the courts is the highest law, so record is squeaky clean.
There you go. You can't beat it then.
But if somebody did get beat up, he probably deserved it.
Yeah.
I'll just say that much. Yeah.
I do want to talk. You talk a lot about ownership, and for me, like I feel like, money is an important conversation at all times. And I mean, there's a buzzword going around in like the financial world, like this K-shaped economy, where it's like the haves and the have-nots. Either you really having it, and if you are having it, life you don't even notice, and if you're not having it, you're not having it.
Yeah.
But there's an interesting theory of like as AI comes in, AI is pretty much gonna make everything like to make it in America, you pretty much find like those pain points and you attack them, and that's how you get rich, whatever, right? From a macro level. But AI is gonna come in and basically make it so there are no more like nooks and crannies, and so there's this idea that eventually you're not gonna be able to use that to get ahead. You're not gonna be able to find a niche to get ahead. What's your thoughts on that? And how do you feel like we can? Do you feel like that's even true, or do you think there's always going to be a way to bridge the gap?
Yeah, I think it's going to get harder and harder. Look at it like, number one, when I was younger, we look at the wealth gap, right? The wealth gap is like the distance between you and, let's say, the richest person. You feel me? When I was young, the idea of the richest person was a millionaire. You feel me? It wasn't even like decamillionaires or people in the hundreds of millions, extremely wealthy people. Over time, a small percentage of people started becoming wealthier and wealthier and wealthier, right? 100%. And now we're at this point in time where we're looking for our first trillionaire. And people are looking up to billionaires. as if they have something in common, or even if that's aspirational for them to obtain, you know. And so now it's at that point where that level of wealth is a pipe dream. It's not obtainable. And where the world is going, like if people follow the World Economic Forums, they was talking wild on there in ways that they never talk. You know what I mean? They're talking very raw about the state of affair of things. And they used to not even have these things videotaped where it was private. Now they're on TV telling you like, yo, even though AI will come, it's only gonna really benefit those who are at the top, right? They have no reason to lie at this point. And I think that people need to pay attention to that things are much worse than we actually are allowing ourselves to understand because we're so distracted. AI can be used for those who already know how to leverage it, I would say. And, you know, most of the people that probably go be listening to this and people that may see these clips, they, I think, have more of an emotional perspective about what AI is, what they think it is, what they feel it is, what they don't want it to be, how they think it's an enemy, etc. I grew up always loving technology. I was just talking with my brother Rashad. He just left NVIDIA. He was telling me about this black man named David Blackwell. NVIDIA is basically like the world's chips creator, the chips that run all of these AI computers that make all these things possible. Not just AI computers, but, you know, cars and everything else. And they like the best in the world at it. And they named their last chip the Blackwell chip, right? And Blackwell was named actually after a black man. He was known as one of the grandfathers of AI based on one of his theories that he created.
That's tough.
And we don't really think about it in that capacity, that this technology that's being invented and innovated upon is something that we also participated in, because entertainment has taken up so much of what we consider to be cultural representation that the scientists, the thought leaders, the scholars, academia, you know, it just now getting to a point where entrepreneurs are getting some shine, right? And it's like so-called financial literacy space. But Black culture is overrepresented and over-indexed in entertainment. So therefore, you know, when we think about how we're going to leverage it, most of the time we're thinking about things from a space of entertainment, right? And then we have somebody else's media that controls the narrative, the way we feel about things, right? Most of the movies, 90% of the 100% of the movies you done watched about AI was written by a white man. You don't even have a Black or African perspective on it whatsoever.
That's interesting.
Right? And so I think we should, number one, as we talk about these technologies, we should really actually take real time to think, because the future is thinking. I'll give it to you in this way. If we look at it, when you went to school, our school system was created by a man named Horace Mann, right? He was essentially given this mission by J.D. Rockefeller to create a nation of workers. And so he went to Prussia, which was this nation that was dominating at this time, and he studied their model because they had discipline, they had authority, you feel me? He liked their model of control over society. This is where he went and studied how to set up schooling in America. So what he did was, they looked at the fact that if they wanted America to become this superpower, then they're going to need a bunch of workers to work in these factories, right? So that they can then dominate these industries. So they basically took only two thinking types, more so that focus on linear thinking, step-by-step, authoritative learning, right? And those were the ones that they awarded so that people can move up. So essentially they can have people work as machines. Now we're at this point in time where they no longer need the people because they're replacing them with the machines. So what people are going to have to deal with is this crisis of meaninglessness, because when you are no longer living by your task is replaced by a machine, your title is replaced by a machine. They're giving the machine the degrees. The degrees are essentially saying that we can do the job that we once paid you, the knowledge worker, to do. So now a lot of these people are becoming irrelevant and they don't know what to do. Psychologically or neurologically, I would say, when you do something that is meaningless, it requires more discipline. You got to force yourself to do it.
For sure.
Right? And so I think what society is going to go through is this period in time where they don't know who they are because their identity has been taken away because the machines are doing the jobs that gave them meaning. Right? And then trying to manage oneself and create a life that is meaningful. What's going to happen is first is going to go through this super nihilistic period where you feel like nothing matters. That's where you get consistent gambling, right? That's where you see all of the gambling sites is piling up because people feel like, man, the system is rigged. Why would I try? You feel me? That's nihilism, right? Everything becomes dark and there's no reason to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's going to be this period where people are.
Are you saying we're already in that period right now?
100%. We're steps, I would say, probably first or second step into that.
Damn.
Because once it really gets to the point where they really start replacing more and more jobs, and I've been speaking on this for probably the last 10 years now, just I feel the future as if it's happening now.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore I act on it now and I speak on it as if it's already occurring. So a lot of times it feel like, you know, people in survival mode don't want to hear that shit because it's like, I'm focusing on next month. And it's like, okay, but now we are in that year that you never thought about. Mm-hmm. So now you don't know what to do. And so you get a thing called future shock. As a futurist, you think about scenarios in the future over and over and you simulate them in your head. So by the time it happens, you already know how you want to respond. Our people and our culture is anti-future. So anti-futurism is essentially anything that stops and distracts us from progressively building towards a future outcome while simultaneously making us feel like we're making progress or we're doing something. Mm-hmm. That's where you get Black excellence, right? It's a scam. It's individuality.
Yeah.
You feel me? It's not real. It's because Black excellence replaced Black power. Instead of militant, disciplined thinking, going towards actually ownership, right, and having your own, let's just give you awards. You feel me? Let's just celebrate accomplishments of individuals.
There's no action behind Black excellence?
None at all. It's actually individual progress at the detriment of the collective. Mm. So it doesn't matter if it's at the detriment of the collective, this individual one. That's why I'd be like, at least he getting money. Because we're trying to justify the fact that it's not good for everybody, but it was good for one person. Mm-hmm. So they gave us Black excellence. You understand me? Because if we focused on Black power, right, then we would be focusing on ownership and control. So no, just focus on Black excellence. Just get your individual accomplishment. So now you can sell whatever you want to, even if it's poisonous. You can be on whatever side and make whatever content you want to, even if it's detrimental to your own people. But as long as you winning, your own people will celebrate you because they ain't got nothing. You understand me? So we holding on to individual accomplishments while collectively we're continuing to go down and down and down and down. So when I think about AI, you have to always think about it from a collective position. How does it benefit us collectively? And it's a tool. It's a tool that if we really had a vision for the future, and this is where you should study the tools, but it's more so important to study yourself so that you can give clarity to what you want to do with the tools. The tools gonna keep getting better. Every single day I go online and they're making an advancement, right? Far beyond what I thought it was going to go forward. And instead of me trying to learn every single tool, let me master what my vision is. So as the tools come in, I can just use the tools that they're creating to help me, right, produce my vision, yet it needs to be bigger. And I think our visions are really too small and these tools are much greater than what we're actually thinking of and what we're imagining.
What's a big vision though? Like one of my homies would say, and I think he just say that, like, you gotta think bigger.
Yeah.
And I do believe like I've been at the big thing for like thinking bigger, bigger. The bigger you think, the bigger your life will be. But like, what is an example of something you feel like is a small vision that Black people have, or maybe not Black people, just people, right?
Well, I'll give you an example of a big vision. It's like creating our own parallel cities. You know, most of the housing in our communities or in America, period, is unaffordable. Right? We live in LA. We know how high housing is right now and rent is right now. People are barely surviving. Like surviving in LA is thriving anywhere else in the world. Right? And so why not then, you know, look for opportunity to buy land collectively and then create your own cities? What's stopping us? I think that when we think about most things, in our mind, trauma stops us because we be like, but Black Wall Street, but this. Yeah, that's the narrative you tell yourself to be a victim. Yeah. Right? If you get two choices in the world, you could be a victim or a fighter. Right? And so if you're thinking from a fighter perspective, then you're saying that it doesn't matter how hard it is, I'm gonna get in the ring, I'm gonna fight, and I'm gonna dominate, and I'm gonna win. You feel me? So a bigger vision is just looking at how can we create parallel systems. Yeah. Another thing, Vince Staples' show got canceled on Netflix. Okay.
It got canceled?
Yeah, it got canceled.
I didn't know that.
Even though it had high ratings, you know, it was highly regarded and things of that nature, it got canceled still. And I seen a post of people was like, maybe it's time to create our own network. Like, we got to stop thinking of the maybes. It's really the only option, but we have this illusion of choice. Like, we got this illusion that maybe we can get better deals. Sinners did not sweep at Golden Globes.
Mm-hmm.
You understand me? Maybe we should stop utilizing their metrics to validate us.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? It's like the bigger vision is just us creating our own systems, owning it, and there's really nothing else to it.
But then how do you think, what's the black dude? I should know his name. The dude who, he has the app and it's all about, he can make money off, I forget the dude.
Fan base?
Fan base, yeah. But it's like, he been pushing that shit for a while, but I feel like we're not gravitating to it.
Is it a good product? Have you tried it?
I haven't tried it.
And
maybe it's not a good product, right? Maybe that's.
And I'm not saying it's not a good product, but I'm saying that just because something doesn't work for one person, most of the time we're looking for the one person. You know how many times at bat white folks get it? He raised like 16 million or something, and kudos to.
That's a great fucking point.
You feel me? Like
he's the only one doing it.
They get failure money. Somebody done got in their community 100 million at something that failed.
Oh God.
And then they got another 100 million to try again because they got experience.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? Like we see, even if his platform does not work, does that mean that the next black man platform won't?
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, they'll give some subpar ideas, even in the venture capital space. They'll give subpar ideas money and funding just so they fail. So they be like, see, that's why we never get black people no money. You understand me? I don't think that white boys and Indians and Asians and Jews and Chinese are more brilliant than black people by far. I just think that they get more opportunities to try.
Mm-hmm.
You understand me? Where I wrote an article and it was about how black men are the most under-mentored and under-sponsored group in the world. Mm-hmm. Higher than black women, of course, white men and white women. And most of the time as we start to grow and go up, there's a fear of that if I help this young black man, that he will be replacing me, right? And so we typically, not the fact that we're not brilliant, it's that we don't get the sponsorship. We don't get the protection networks, right? So a lot of times the higher you go up, the harder it is, because at that point in time, you're supposed to get some level of assistance, right? You get mentorship at the bottom where you're getting advice, and then you get sponsorship where you're getting real help, people putting your name, right, in board meetings and sending you deals and things of that nature. And then as things are going wrong, there's a protection network helping absorb some of the downfall as you're learning on your way up. But we act like black people need to be perfect in order to get things done. Like, nah, I think that shout out to Isaac Hayes for what he's doing, because I think he showed a blueprint that, number one, we will invest in an idea, right, if we just build the thing. Yeah. So I think this is the year to just try everything you wanted to try. Like, just build. Whatever it is, whatever the idea, I don't care. Matter of fact, the crazier it is, I want you to try. Yeah. Like, if our imagination has shrunken so low that we don't even believe anymore.
That's a fact. It's crazy because I have a family member, I can't even say who it is, but like I was showing them, there's a AI platform called Base 44. Mm-hmm. That shit's like build anything. And that shit, like literally, I be telling people like it builds anything. I use it, and it's clear as day it's gonna replace, you can run a whole company with just yourself. But as I'm talking to this person who's in my family, their business acumen is not crazy. But I'm hearing them speak, I'm like, damn, everything's an objection. Everything is like, there's no, the mind, their mind doesn't, they just don't see opportunity. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They only see downfall. But I said it to say, there's a thought that you have put out in the world, which is like the black mind, it's able to take seeds and birth things more than any other. Mm-hmm. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, this kind of go into antiquity. It's like if you look at all of the representations of like God, like black gods. At first it was like this bull, this Brahmin bull. And the reason you use a bull the same way you got a red bull is because taurine energy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's fecundity. It's full of life and full of energy, right? There's a statue called the Mother of the Bulls in Egypt, and it's a representation of the fecundity of the black man. And fecundity is like, you have a lot of sperm that's swimming and active and energized, and also ideas in the mind. And so it's an erect black man, and then he got his fist up like this. And you have to imagine, I've been to Africa, a lot of times over the years, east, north, south, right, west. And when you get out there, you can see how fertile the country is, right? I was just in Uganda, and I had an interview with the president, and they took me around Uganda to see it, and we was learning about the high volcanic soil that they got out there. I mean, it's super fertile. So fertile, if you spit on the ground, you create a clone. I mean, like, it's good. You feel me? Yeah. And this happened because the volcano... the volcano from thousands of years ago pulled all the minerals up. You understand me? And then it combined with the soil. And so it's hyper mineralized. You can literally grow anything. So they have some of the best Ugandan coffee out there, which is partially what we were sourcing for some of our Arabica coffee that we put in our mushroom compounds. But to that point, when you go out there, you see, the average age of a child is like 15 to 16 years old. And just the average age on the continent is like 19. And so they're super fertile, the point of that. But then at the same time, also fertile in mind. White man went over there and he's seen pyramids and he's seen ancient Mali and he's seen all of these different, representation of a people creating art and things of that nature, where you get your brands of Louis Vuitton and Gucci. They took those prints from Africa because we had all the colors. We had all the styles. We were so fertile, but we wasn't thinking about capitalism. They was looking at it and saying, this is how I can make money off this, right? And so the black man in America, if you go to the ghettos in America, right, those are some of the most creative people. And then what did pop culture do? They stole all of the ghetto styles and then turned that into fashion. You feel me? And turned that into trends, but none of the creators ever ate off that. Look at hip hop. It's the most creative musical genre ever, and it's the hardest, right? And we're super creative. Year after year, just keeps innovating. Like most genres stay the same. You feel me? Country is just regular country. Yeah. You feel me? Jazz is just
There's so
jazz.
many intricacies within hip-hop.
Hip-hop feels like it has to always evolve. And we're basically a people that have magic but not science, right? Like we can make the most magical thing in the world, but we don't have the science on how to scale it, right? How to turn that one thing into many things. We think we need a million things instead of making one product that we can sell millions of times.
Is that an attribute thing though? Because like black people, we have the magic without the science, but then you might say white people got the science but not the magic. Is that just
because we are they magic? All they do is take and manage us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How many Jewish men made hit songs?
Is there a world where, like, do you think there's a world where we're just we have our skill set, they have theirs, and we're supposed to work together? Or you think we just completely, obviously we've been taken advantage of?
I mean, we live on Earth. If there was a world in which that was supposed to happen, then this is the world it was supposed to happen. This is the effect of what happens when we are deeply integrated and don't understand. Well, we don't understand them. They understand us. They understand us to the point where the last hundreds of years, they've been mastering us. Yeah. They've been mastering how to make a Negro, literally by their words. It's a marketing video, came out in the 1950s on how to sell to a Negro specifically. And it was speaking on create things that's not for them, and it will become aspirational to them. They're going to want it. That's why we put on designer. Gucci and Hennessy weren't made for black people. Tommy Hilfiger wasn't made for black people, yet we wanted it because they said we couldn't have it instead of making our own.
Is that a black people thing or is that a people thing?
Well, or specifically to the psychology of black people, because it was speaking on, they knew that we were going to be great consumers because we had all of this money coming out of slavery, right, in the early 1900s. And so they had been studying the mind of the Negro at that time, according to them. And they understood that black people wanted status, right? We wanted to be seen because we had been deprived of so much, and we just wanted to be equal to them, right? At least more so the boule and the middle class.
Deep.
So they knew that they could use reverse psychology on us, right? I mean, integration was never about going to school with white kids. It was all about having equal rights, right? But at that time, simultaneously, while civil rights was being fought for and integration was happening, we did have ownership. You know what I mean? Like we did have businesses and schools, and we had our own thriving economy within an economy. We were just searching for a level of equality, and they understood that if we don't give them what they're asking for, then they're going to end up having things that we can't control or own, right? Like if they have their own schools and they can teach them their own version of history, so they're looking in the future and saying, man, this is not sustainable 50 years in the future, right? Then they knew that wasn't sustainable on a global stage because you can't be portraying like America is this land of freedom. Yet you got all these black people in America being housed down or hosed down, and y'all treating them and y'all the most racist people. So racism never ended. None of those things ever ended. They integrated us into a system where they can control us better. Then, right, they turned us into the greatest consumers in America. So let's just continue to sell them things, control all their programming, control how they see themselves, because the ultimate truth is that if you keep black people away from loving themselves, they'll always be empty and always feeling like they need something outside themselves. So you got to take away family programming, right? You have to take away aspirational programming. If there's music that gets them to think more of themselves and imagine more, you have to destroy that. As a young child, I didn't have that many cartoons where there was like young black heroes. We had like Static Shock, and that was damn near it. As a young white boy, how many you get?
Yeah.
We don't even think about like what it's like to grow up as another race, seeing themselves reflected in the narratives that they grow up watching. You feel me? Like they get to see themselves all the time, and that's normal. We get a representation of Black Panther and we go crazy and got to watch it 10 times. Had to watch Center like 5 times. Because it was finally how we see us, not how they see us, right? And that's uniquely different. And so I feel that black people have been deprived of being able to truly see themselves for so long that most of us don't know who we really are. We don't know what kind of world we want because we've never seen, our imagination hasn't been fed. So if you don't see it, it's hard to desire it. So if 90% of the shows are written on Netflix are written by white men and 80% of the characters, you understand me, are written from the lens and perspective of white men, right? That means even the way that we see ourselves has been written by white men, right? And so these tropes that we get, and even when we act them out and it becomes culture, that culture was sanitized and it was sanctioned to say that, yes, that's safe enough to get them niggas.
So how do you go the opposite direction of all of that?
Man, that's a good question because I think we're in a beautiful space where I created high-level conversations because I particularly wanted to create what we didn't see. I'm all about solutions. You feel me? Like right now we working on creating a production company so that we can greenlight our own documentaries, shorts, films, podcasts, right? And to be at that space to where we not just saying, yo, who in the culture got the biggest check, but like who in the culture controls the editing room? Who can greenlight things? Who can be the one passing out the checks? You feel me? I believe in narrative warfare. I believe in us controlling our own narrative. And I believe in strategic imagination. Like Sinners, I don't think most people know why they even really love Sinners as a movie, right? Like it was so important beyond the deal that he got, the power that he got to control the editing of Sinners. It means that even the way that we frame the past, it was never from a position of victimhood. You understand me? It never showed even the white people in the movie. It never showed them as like saviors. It never showed them as like, you know, over anybody, lording over anybody. You know, it never showed the black men weak and feminized. It never showed us in none of those lights. It showed the beautiful black woman when she came on screen, not from like this video vixen version of a black woman, but like a real black woman. You feel me? It showed us practicing hoodoo, which is like an ancient practice that the slaves literally practice in real time. You feel me? And it was a time when we get to go in the past but not be fearful. And how you know, because the black man was the hero, he survived, right? And he lived long enough to not only, if it wasn't a black man, he would have never killed the Klan. He would have never went to the future. You feel me?
Yeah.
Those two things would have never, ever happened, right? But when you understand how powerful film is and how powerful narratives are, you're going to make sure at the end of it, you're inspired, right? At the end of it, you always, you have this feeling that, you know, no matter what goes against us, that we can triumph. Because if you deeply go into our history, that's what we always did. They never destroyed us with violence. Even in Black Wall Street, people know about Black Wall Street being destroyed, but we never talk about when we rebuilt it 4 years later. We had a parade in the street to say, yo, we're resilient, right? That's our story. Every single time they tried to destroy us, or every town they tried to bomb, what do? We just kept rebuilding. And then at some point in time, what they did is they made us forget that. Because if we know that that's our narrative of being fighters, right? Then we say that's when our spirit. So instead of saying, yo, what do we do next? No, it's fighting next. It's building next. You feel me? It's really only one logical thing to do when no matter what you do, they will continue to do what they do, right? And so if they go continue to destroy, we got to continue to build. And then we have to figure out a way to get to a point where we become masters. Once you become masters, then they can't destroy you because you've mastered yourself and you've mastered them. And so I don't think we like long-term solutions. We always want short-term, what can we do right now? And unless you have a people who believe in themselves, it ain't shit you can do with them.
Facts. How important is money to you?
Money is a tool. I mean, if you want to build anything, you need tools.
Is it ever like it's never an end goal for you, or is it?
Never an end goal. No, no. Money is a tool. Like anybody, if you're an architect, man, your end goal is not to just get the tools. Your end goal is to build the vision.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? And so I heard something intelligent. I think by the brother named Byron. What's his last? Myron Allen or something like that. And he asked
Byron Allen is he on like he's a billionaire somewhere. The black dude.
black dude, not Myron. I forget his name. It's
Mm-hmm.
not important, but he was saying something. He said, one thing we do have is I feel like a bad consciousness towards money, right? If you ask like a person, how healthy do you want to be? A person says, I want to be healthy as possible, right? How much love do you want in your life? A person, I want as much love as possible in my life. You ask them how much money, a person gonna say enough. For me, I want as much money as possible so that I can do as many things as possible, right? There's no limit to how much money I want because there's no limit to my vision.
Mm-hmm.
The more money I have, the more things I can do with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the problem in our community is more so is that we want money and that's it. We don't actually have any intention with the money.
Yeah, we look at money like a
goal. It's
Yeah.
not even a
tool.
not even a goal, but like it's like niggas hold it to the ear, like it's an
Yeah,
object, like it's
yeah.
a real life, like
Yeah, we will celebrate the man with the money, not what he's doing with it.
Mm.
Just by having the money. That's why everybody we want to be this billionaire. But what do you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
You got a status of a billionaire, so what? But what are you building? You feel me? So for me, it's all like, why would I would never limit myself to resources. Like I need as much resources and access as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So money is a part of that resource.
Mm-hmm.
But I do a lot of things that leave a lot of money on the table because at the end of the day, it's not more important than my integrity.
Like what? Like what would you not? I mean,
No, I mean,
hundreds of things, I'm sure.
I don't, for the most part, like even when they come to me, ad dollars that don't align with my platform, it's always 100% no. You feel me? When we do touring in a way to where it's not sustainable for almost anybody else because I put up my own money to do it. Like I pay money to go around the world and teach black people.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically my business model. Now, it's not the smartest thing to do. You feel me? Because you end up spending a lot of money, and unless you do at the end of the tour or at the end of each stop, unless you're upselling them for a product for thousands of dollars,
Mm-hmm.
right? The only time I see black people, for the most part, do this is when at the end of the day, they're setting up the whole entire tour and the whole entire event to sell you something at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I've been touring for the last 5-6 years. You feel me? And you're not going to find nobody that say, man, Keys did this whole event so he can sell us something.
Mm-hmm.
I did it so I can help you get mentally free, right? And then I go home. You feel me? At the end of the day, after my team just did all that hard work. Now, what I thought was when I first started this, that people will see the good intention in what I'm trying to do and help me do it. That has not happened since I started. So now I realize that when you want to do things good for black people, you got to do them yourself. You understand me? You have to have resources and money, which means we have to build out infrastructures and funnels that do allow us to have those resources. So I would say that I probably would do things a little different because, as they say, good intentions is the road to hell or paved to hell. How'd that go, brother? Yeah, old school OG back there.
I think it's a road that paved whatever. Yeah.
Something like that. So again, I don't purposely try to leave money on the table, but I just think that impact first.
For sure. So but now the way that you're like being able to even just do what you want to do is you selling products. Is that the overall goal, or is there mentorship class? Like, what is it? What are those avenues for you?
Yeah, so we have our community structure, consultation, mentorship. Right
That's
now,
like subscription?
Yeah, we building
That's
out
fire.
our Patreon more right now. I want to get to 100,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
You feel me? I think we get to that, then we can have a self-sustaining production company.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? To where we can greenlight anything we want to. And I literally think we get to that point, man, we just shift the whole culture. You feel me? And when I say it, I don't say it lightly. Like I literally mean that because we already do it without it. Beyond that, we have our Supermind products, this is a cognitive brand. It's all about helping people boost their brain functions and things of that nature. Because I think that's going to be probably the most important thing. You're right. Like going into the future, the billionaires are becoming obsessed with cognition. How do we, invest into businesses that help human beings have healthier brain health? Because most people, man, you sitting on the phone, you distracted all day, and your brain is deficient. And if you don't have that capacity, because most people think they got a mental health issue, and it's probably just capacity problem.
Yeah.
You understand me? It's kind of like when your phone dies or you run out of space on your phone. It don't matter if the phone is capable, it don't have more capacity.
Yeah. Start moving slow, chunk. Yeah.
Exactly. So all my businesses, they align with my thesis that I teach at the same time.
Nice.
You feel me? Whether it's the community, whether it's the Supermind Labs, we have a family office that I've been working on building with my brother Keenan Beasley, and we've been working on some projects with Jalen Brown. Inshallah, some of those coming to fruition. But yeah, man, everything that we do is just so that we can create an infrastructure that allows us to stay independent, so we ain't got to depend on these institutions and the systems that I know just want to mute your voice when they get too loud.
100%. Before I transition, did you see it was a thing? I figured you have some other phone. Anyways, TikTok, they just got it was like they basically the US got control over what's going to be put out.
Yeah.
And you think that's bigger? They say it's like foreign, interference and shit like that. Or you think it's a control thing? But for our minds.
Oh, it's 100% control. It's about them people. You know them people. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how deep you want to get on your platform, but it's the
go there. Do you think it's like people? Because then I'll be like, bro, is it people sitting behind a board like, yo, what is it like?
Man, they sitting behind the
seven
board,
motherfuckers that's
in front of the board. They everywhere, man. It's a small percentage of people. You gotta look at it like this. There's a small percentage of people, maybe about 150 people who own the world, right, and who make decisions for the rest of the world at a high level. They're like stewards of the planet. Right, they make very high level decisions, and essentially they start deciding who gets to live and who gets to die at that point. Right, they're moving billions, if not trillions, of dollars. There are wealth funds that have billions of dollars, and they're figuring out where to move their money into, what they move their money out to, and all of that affects us at some level or another. You feel me? When it comes to TikTok was too free. People saying what they want to. There was way too much combative narrative on there that they couldn't control. So now TikTok was getting the young people. Anytime you get the young people, they the ones who start all the revolutions, right? Those are the most radical spaces, which is like the college campuses and things of that nature. So TikTok had those mind. So anytime they wanted to run a psychological operation and a narrative campaign to get people to think one way, TikTok was giving you the real or giving you combative information against that. And so they've always had the ability to control media. And when social media came, right, it put it into the hands of the people. And they got to the point where, they controlled Facebook, controlled Instagram, controlled YouTube. And then here comes TikTok, this Chinese competitor that pops up, and they don't have control over it. And so essentially, they took control over it and they put it into hands of people that allowed them to consistently control the narrative, because as Bibi Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, said, their greatest weapon is social media. And there's something called cognitive warfare, and essentially is how they manipulate minds, right? Utilizing algorithms, bots, psyops to control not just what you think, but to control how you think. So no matter what they show you, they still controlling how you think. And what this does is it rearranges your identity. Right. And so I'm sure you probably got some friends that's MAGA, right? And y'all might fall on different sides of the spectrum politically. And, they may tell you that they researched something, right? But they don't know if they really fell into a rabbit hole that was specifically set up by an algorithm to get them to think a certain way. And what happens is the brain feels like it's learning it. It is. And when you're learning, you're rewiring your neuroplasticity, right? It's your brain ability to change. So now you actually start connecting to a new identity, especially in spaces where you felt alone at first and you felt like things was going bad. All of a sudden you found this information and you found this group of people who think like this as well. So once that shifts your identity, you start protecting that. And that identity is damn near shifted forever. So cognitive warfare is dangerous because it's what all of the countries are fighting each other with today. Instead of bullets and hot war, they're going directly to the algorithms, right? Your children are on an iPad. You don't know what the hell they looking at. And you don't know that they're seeding ideas and thoughts.
With bots and shit like that.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is the most dangerous form of warfare because it's the hardest to fight because you don't even know what your thoughts are, where they begin and where you've been manipulated. And a person that thinks that they can't be manipulated is the easiest one to. You think your mind is so strong, they ain't get me. that mean your defense system down.
That's what I was just finna go there with you though. Like, how much are you consuming? Because we all like the most efficient motherfucker in the world get distracted by this shit.
Oh, 100%.
So yeah,
I had to take the last 2 days and kind of detox a bit, get me some rest and silence. You know, like yesterday I sat down for like maybe 2-3 hours, just in a room, cut the lights down, not going to sleep, but just silence. Because I realized, like, if I don't have that ability to hear myself, if I can't think clearly within myself, I can't give clarity to nobody else. So for me, that's like an exercise to increase my capacity. But then when I'm online, I'm hypervigilant because that's one of the only ways to stop a psyop, to always be aware that this could possibly be a psyop. Whose motivation? Who does this benefit? Right? Start asking yourself these questions. And then you realize, like, no, I'm not just mindlessly scrolling on social media. I'm engaging in active warfare. Somebody's trying to get me to believe and or think something. And so if somebody, and that's what I'm saying, social media.
Do you get caught up though? Is there moments you be in bed like, God,
Yeah, for sure. That's why I study this stuff so in depth, because I think, damn, if it get me, I know lesser minds, right, are just thrown all the way. And they're not even realigning themselves to be intentional at all. You feel me? So when I find myself scrolling, you know, I start asking myself, like, all right, what was the last 2 posts even about?
Yeah.
You feel me? And then I got to stop and I ask myself questions like, is this even aligned with you? And so I had those bad days like everybody else where the dopamine get me, man. I'm on the dope. You feel me? Just Zuckerberg be serving up some good dope. Elon, you feel me? And we locked in, you feel me? But they do not take their own supply. That's why you don't see them with phones in their hands.
That's a fact. It's getting crazy now though, because now they got the fucking glasses. They putting it in the
glasses, brain chips,
Would you ever do the brain chip?
Hell no. And we know when I was a child, I would have said yeah, because I thought about being a cyborg and increasing abilities. But it's not the chip that I dislike. What I dislike is those who own and control it.
Got it.
You know what I mean? Niggas get to cut your shit off, putting it, like they got the ability to implant thoughts that's not yours.
Yeah.
Right? Inside of you. Not even with the chip. Like, I study a lot of different stuff, and a lot of this is like military warfare the average person has no reason to care about. But this is like real brain like manipulation now. They can take a device and implant a thought. They can make you hate somebody, right? That you have no reason to hate, but they implanted a false memory. Like, this is no longer futuristic technology. This is what they're capable of right now.
But that shit is so true because they're doing it without a chip. They're doing it just through. It's certain shit, bro, I see online, and I'm like, I don't like this nigga. And they're like,
right?
No, bro.
And
for
anybody
real.
that don't like me, that's a government psyop.
That's a
you feel
fact.
me? Straight up, that's an implanted. You don't even know why. You just hating. That's the government,
bro. This is it's like a thing online where they say like, oh, and I lean into it because I was trying to build a name, and the first narrative about this like, I'm not from LA.
Oh yeah,
I was born and raised in LA.
I heard that.
South Central, but it's crazy because now I'm at the point now where like I'm like, oh, I'm doing.
You got
cool.
proof though?
That I'm from LA?
Yeah.
Don't do that. No, I do have. It's bad. It's bad though because the school I went to got shut. It's a whole thing. But I said to say, now that I've like got the somewhat of a name, niggas be like they first name, nigga, you ain't even from LA, and I'm just like,
yeah.
It's just crazy how
man. It sound like a good brand, man. It sound like a T-shirt, man. You feel me? Let it be an inside LA joke. You feel me?
Yeah. It get it when I'm having a day though. I'll be like, man, don't. Or if I'm out in person, somebody dap me up like, you ain't from LA though. I'm like, bro. Like, come on.
I think you should make them shirts, and you should only sell it to people that's verified from LA.
Look, he like that. That's the one right there. Big window like that.
No transplants. Only people that's verified from LA can even get the shirt.
I like that. We're gonna do that.
You feel me? It's like a membership.
Okay, question. How do you feel about feminism? The movement of feminism. Do you think it's bad or good for our society?
I love women, man. I think women are amazing. And I think that women and men are the only beings on this planet Earth as far as human beings, as far as I'm concerned and what I know about. And I think that we need to figure out specifically, like everybody else, I don't really care about what other races do. Like, you know, white feminists and the rest of them, y'all can do what y'all want to do. I just want to see black men and black women get along. You feel me? I believe in patriarchy in the sense that black men need to be leading a household because one of the biggest issues is that we missing out the household.
Facts.
You know, I think feminism in its turn to be a feminist is basically like just believing in women's rights. But I think the connotation of it is connected to white women's movement that had been that they co-opted and brought in black women, right? But always left them under their control. And I think that it specifically has not been a positive and a net positive for our community. And I don't think any movement that wasn't created by us and any organization that wasn't created by us is not for us. That's just point blank, period. I don't think no other people create great movements to help us get free. We see that white women predominantly stick by their men. You understand me? And so at the end of the day, the black woman only has the black man and the black man only has the black woman, right? When it really comes down to it. And so, you know, whether you want to talk feminism or womanism or whatever other ism that you want to get onto it, we just need to learn how to build and get along together, because the war is against both of us. They just trick black men and trick black women into fighting each other. But that didn't come from us. We didn't create the programming, the narratives, the media, the problem, right? That created that attitude, that disposition that we have to each other negatively. So I think that we need to drop anything that don't come from us. And also believe in the matriarch. I believe that women are very, 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 very powerful. And I think that men have forgotten how to appreciate women, largely. That's why I joke, but I call them homosocial, because they doing everything.
Crazy.
They doing everything for other men, right? There's like group of young men nowadays are online studying the men that they think women desire, and then
studying men that they think other women desire.
Right. They're not studying the women. They don't know nothing about the women, right? Can barely hold a conversation with a woman, but they're these gym bros and they looks maxing and they doing all of these things only to get more compliments from men, and they're in ciphers of men. They're not even, they're in circles of men talking about women instead of just going out and talking to women, right? And so that's why I find a problem with that. That's very weird. And when I think about, you know, weird in the LA sense too, you feel me? And when I think about
you mastered that weird too. That's the first, you mastered that weird.
I didn't, you know that.
So that's
I didn't
weird.
know it was a real LA thing, that weird was super disrespectful. I'm from the Bay, so it never was a thing, but now I know it is.
Yeah,
I do it
100%.
on purpose. But when I look at it again, I think that, and I was just reflecting over this thought earlier today, is that there's a lot of men who don't deal with their shadow. They don't deal with that part of themselves that's controlling them, and they don't know why. And that lack of mastery of self makes you want to dominate others. And for some reason, they think they need to dominate these women because they're missing something within themselves. And they have these spaces where they don't even have, for the most part, proximity to women to even see how they engage. Right? You end up learning what type of man you are when you're in a circle of other men. They just online in algorithms. Yeah. And no fault to a lot of them, because they grew up on the internet. So it's like they didn't get the real life. You feel me? Like we grew up having to actually go deal with real situations, conflict, or like talk to women in real life. You feel me? And see if they actually like you, not how many picture likes can I get? You feel me? I'm gonna slide in the DM, but you don't have no social ability in real life. You feel me? And so
is that important going forward though?
100%.
Considering AI and all
because
this
we
shit?
need community more than ever.
Got it.
You feel me? Like in-person community, most of the things that we're doing online is because we lonely, right? People eating, drinking, smoking, going to social spaces because they lonely. There's a study that showed that loneliness is as dangerous as 15 cigarettes a day. You feel me? Like it produces stress and anxiety. So there is a real thing about like the loneliness epidemic of men. It's a bunch of men that's just inside on their computer lonely, because the world has turned, capitalism for the most part, has turned men and women against each other, right? And so now we're not producing as many babies. You're getting birth rate decline. And in other countries, what you've seen is that the government actually did step in, because I seen Stephen Bartlett, they got on his helmet for talking about this, saying that government should do something about it. And they compared it to The Handmaid's Tale. I don't think that's the reality. I think that when you look at Japan and other spaces, the government, what they did is incentivize social spaces. You feel me? Places that they can go to where men and women can meet. Not like programs forcing men on women or women on men. Nothing like that. You still have to choose. You feel me? No matter what. But incentivizing these spaces and creating grants and things of that nature that allow people, like in LA, the social scene is dying. You feel me? Like, and it's hella expensive at the same time. So a man is making a financial decision when he's thinking about going out or he's thinking about dating. He not thinking about who he likes. He's thinking about who he can afford, right? That's a different conversation. Damn. And then a lot of women are looking at men for what they have, not who he is. You feel me? And so he's now saying that, well, if this is what they like, this is what I must become, because the value of men has not been explained to society today, right? We knew what the value of men in other times, in ancient times, because it was based on a man's skill and what he does, and a man's labor and physical labor and jobs that only men had. Then women entered the force, and now machines are going against men and women. And so there's like this reorganizing to where I am not mad at our generation, the next generation, and previous generations, because we're all just trying to deal with the world as is.
Yeah.
You feel me? But I think that men need to get back to competency, right? A representation that you have real skill sets, that you have social abilities, that you know how to communicate. You feel me? You know how to look another man in his eye. Mm-hmm. You have a level of intellect, because intellect is always, you know, highly regarded when it comes to manhood. You have virtue, which means you have the ability to be dangerous, but you can control your force, all right? Like Martin Luther King's birthday just passed or whatever, and I was thinking about it. I say Malcolm X and Martin Luther King was both nonviolent, right? If we looking at it by definition, it's just Martin Luther King took it much further as like this political strategy, like no matter what happens, I am not going to retaliate. He didn't truly believe in retaliatory actions. Mm-hmm. But Malcolm X didn't impose violence, right? There's no, he took a picture holding a gun, right? But that was to show calm composure, right? And he set that up with a photographer. That wasn't a moment of somebody outside shooting at him.
Yeah.
You feel me? And so people have taken these stories and they ran with them. And so masculinity become this performance instead of competency. And so a lot of men don't know how to be men because there's not good examples of it. The world doesn't talk about men in a positive manner, in a healthy manner anymore. And then you get a lot of back and forth bickering between men and women. Mm-hmm. And it's always this, it gotta be a simple hero or a simple villain. And so I get in trouble a lot of times online just because, you know, my mind holds complexity where you live in a society that don't have much nuance, right? Yeah. I'm gonna look at the whole board and I'm gonna speak on it from that perspective. I don't really care how you feel in regard to where, oh, I want Keys to say it this way or that way. That's not how I work. You feel me? And so I think that black men and women need to be an example. Black men need to get outside. You feel me? Get back to the real rules and rituals and principles of being a man. First of all, no man should not be able to at least drop down and do 50 push-ups. You feel me?
That's hold on. Wendell, can you do 50 push-ups right now? Now half push-ups. We got a group chat. You was doing half push-ups.
I'm gonna start you off at 25 to be nice, but you gotta at least be physically fit because the mental health of black men is very low.
Don't look at looking at his arms.
And working out does help, right? At least give you a place to decompress,
for
right?
sure.
And I believe that black men should be creating more hiking circles and things of that nature, and then integrate women into those circles. I love the run clubs. Mm-hmm. You feel me? I love what's going on with even the coffee clubs. We plan on doing something like that. Me and Rance working on some things. And I'm working with my brother Derek from Seven Streams. I even want to put up some coffee shops.
Hard.
But we need more third spaces, right? Spaces outside of work and home or going to the club with a bottle. It's like there's space that's not so expensive and not so pretentious to where you can just go in, be yourself, and meet people and talk and build. We used to knock them at the library back in the day.
Yeah.
You feel me? It don't matter where it was. We go to the mall. Like we'd go on just whole journeys throughout the whole day. How many numbers can we get?
Yeah.
You feel me? It was a rites of passage, but also it allowed you to become a better communicator, increase your confidence. Mm-hmm. We afraid to be embarrassed nowadays, so we trying to pretend everything is perfect. Like, nah, I don't need to be perfect. I just need to be growing. You feel me? As long as I'm getting better and I'm learning, that's me.
Yeah. How do you know where you're gonna go? Like in LA, I seen y'all a couple times, but how do you know? How do you pick and choose like which spots you gonna be at?
Man, I typically just get invited, and then I weigh, you know, whether I got the energy for it. You feel me? And so if you hit my line with all of the invitations, I might not be able to go to all of them, but I at least want to know I was invited.
Yeah.
You feel me? That's how I feel. Cause I don't live in a box. You may see me wherever. Don't put a limitation on me. Oh, I don't know if this is Keys type event. You ain't gonna know till you invite me.
Yeah, fair.
You feel me?
I've seen you a range.
I might be outside.
But you don't drink or smoke?
Nah. I don't need to.
So what do you do to let loose?
Ain't that crazy? I try. See, this is that question.
I was about to say, ain't that crazy? Damn.
The question speaks on more so is the fact that I think 99% of people don't live in alignment. And when you don't live in alignment, I mean, you don't really love what you do. So
Yeah.
you're always looking for an outlet, the things that you have to have discipline to do.
Escape from.
Exactly. And so I do think it's important. Like, I travel a lot. You know, I'm an artist at heart. You know, I make music, I design. You know, I learn a lot. So I actually do love reading and learning and researching. Like, that's just the way my brain works. I like learning novel information. It gets me going down a rabbit hole. Then I think about how I'm gonna teach that to other people. You feel me? I do have, you know, friends and things of that nature. I got a social life. You feel me?
Just to be,
You know what I'm saying? I just meditating on some Malcolm X, sitting somewhere
your brand is
reading
strong,
the dictionary.
bro.
You feel me? Like, I'm from Oakland, man, and St. Louis, man. I be outside. You feel me? I live a full life. It's just I don't live the life that's been given to us by the world. Because I think most people, when they think about life,
yeah.
right? Like, I was in Uganda last month, and I think it's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to in the world. And you just slow down and just sitting there and reflect. There's people that have never traveled, yet they have spent travel money in the club.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, experiences are the best memories on the planet. You feel me? And we'd drink our memory away and forget what we spent it on in the first place. Just to repeat a cycle over and over and over. I don't think most people know how to live.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? Like, I done traveled to many places and many countries, and I enjoy myself at a level that most human beings will never get to because I'm fulfilled. Like, I get to travel around, people give me testimonials on how I changed their mental, financial, and spiritual situation. Like, that's just a different level of life.
Mm-hmm.
So what do I need to do to escape from that? Like, you know, I was in Africa, and a brother showed me his private island where he had houses that he built, you feel me? And it was beautiful. You go down the island, it actually looks like part of the African side was primitive, was people naked and stuff. And then the other side, you get like these rich houses. And as we going down the river, I'm like, people don't get to experience this. All right, everybody is watching Africa from speed stream.
Mm-hmm.
But how many people can even afford to go in this economy at the same time? So, you know, I'm grateful, number one. And number two, I don't always need to do something. When I'm at home, I try to relax, and that's my mode to where I get to thinking, man. I'm a high performer. I want to be 0.1% in the world. I don't want to be like nobody else. So if the general population is doing it, then it's a good sign I shouldn't.
Yeah. I got one more, and then I got a game we'll play, and then we'll get you out of here.
Okay.
I know you, because you mentioned you're like, y'all, we're going to do another LA show. We definitely need that. But I'm curious to know, do you see a difference in like black people in different areas that you go? And if so, what's the difference between LA black people and like
LA black people? Well, first of all,
we did a clip.
Let me say this. The people that's from LA, those are the coolest people. It's the transplants that give LA a bad rep.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? People from LA, man, just down to earth, you feel me? Solid individuals that I really deeply connect with. You feel me? It's like meeting a brother. You feel me? Keep it 100, and we just got an instant camaraderie. People that's not from LA, they came to LA looking for something, right? And always performing, and you know, there's a lot of faking in order trying to make it. You know, people that's here, they kind of settled. They got a history here. They went to school here. You feel me? Like they got a whole life. And so it's like with LA, I love people that's like truly native from LA because they also got that warrior spirit. You feel me? LA is crazy. And then being from the Bay, it's a different contrast. You feel me? Like, I think in the Bay, you get indoctrinated into more revolutionary and conscious thought, even if you're from the streets, because of our history there. And I don't even know if it's comparable. It's just two different flavors. You feel me? Like, you can tell in the music. And then I've traveled around the world, and I activate all the black communities around the world. One of my favorite places I went to was Amsterdam. There was all kind of black people out there I ain't even know existed.
Yeah.
You feel me? And I feel like the narrative of like black people around the world, we've never told our story, right? Like, you wouldn't know those people exist, but they also have their own history out there, right? And how they see themselves and what is being black, right? And being in the diaspora. Then I go to London, and they got a different vibe, but they got a different way that they sound, the way that they speak, and it's more proper, but they also don't have this idea of like over dreaming big and upward mobility. It's a completely different energy when you go out there. Then they also haven't had that many like revolutionaries that came out there and tried to, you know, help them out their situation, right? Like, you know, they got a fucking white queen and king out there. You feel me? They live in a completely different monarch, but they black people.
Yeah.
They were just dropped off there. And so I get to experience so many different sides of like black people in the world that most people never even get to see. And at the same time, for the most part, we all the same. You know, just worldwide, we all the same for the most part. It's just different perspectives on our history. So even when I go around and I teach, I always try to customize my lesson based on the layout of the land. Like I'm not gonna tell people in LA the same thing as somebody in Amsterdam. So I study and I research the people first, the history of it, what's going on with them economically and spiritually, and then I tailor the message. But man, I think LA people cool as hell. You know, shout out to all my LA folks out here. Bay Area people is like the realest people on the planet you gonna ever meet. You understand me? Our twin city is like Detroit. You feel me? Shout out to them.
I love
They
Detroit.
solid. Houston's they the coolest, most welcoming people. Have some of the best hospitality on the planet Earth. New Yorkers, man, their energy is just different. They always ready to go get it. It's instantaneous activation. You feel me? Even though they don't like going to different boroughs and things of that nature, which they need to get over. But Brooklyn in the summer, Harlem in the summer, it's a different kind of energy. They got real neighborhoods. Like when you in Chicago, that's a real neighborhood. People are outside. You feel me? You think it's an event going on. They just outside living.
Yeah.
Like that's a different energy. And Chicagoans is dope as hell too. I don't even know how I really explain Chicago people. They just dope. You feel me? Like they got a level of realness to where they don't perform it. You feel me? Like I might have a sold out show in Chicago, but they might not be the most pumped up crowd, but they go show up for you. You feel me?
Yeah.
And it's a different energy. I go to Columbus, Ohio was one of my favorite places last year I went to. The whole city activated and pulled up for us. It was oversold out. So it's like I get to really
You done really
experience
been
this.
everywhere, bro.
It's fly. Man, I did Bermuda first financial literacy conference last year. You feel me? And that was dope because this is what you realize. And then we like spoiled out here. We're spoiled with consciousness. We're spoiled with people always trying to help us get out of a thing. They don't have the same. They watch this. You know what I mean? They watch Black revolution and political action and liberation thought and consciousness. They watch this from a distance. We have it always. Like over the last 100 years, we've always had a Black leader or savior or somebody, right? And so other spaces, it's more so Black Americans coming into those spaces and shifting the consciousness. So a lot of times when I'm coming to this space, this is a lot of their first experience with it in real life versus it being on a phone, or versus it being history. So you get to really create such impact because that's like a core memory in people's life. You feel me? That they never go back to or to go back from after that. So I really love going in these spaces and teaching futurism and economics and AI and financial literacy and, cognitive wealth and things that I probably just reflect and think about on a daily basis is true gold for other people that don't get it in their environment.
Nice. All right, this game gonna be called One Gotta Go. You just gotta pick one, the one that. Well, before that, why red face Rolly?
Oh man, this whole thing, man.
Red face is unique. You see it.
I really liked when I first seen it, man. I really liked it. We got the if you look at the flag of Islam is red. It really represents the sun.
Okay.
You feel me? And so I also was really about the gold more than everything when I was first getting it because at the time we was doing a class on gold, right, and teaching people on buying assets, versus liabilities and things of that nature, and storing your money in gold and watching it appreciate, which has been true and continues to be true. And so, it wasn't nothing special to it. I just wanted some red that looked cool back in the day. And I just been wearing it ever since. You feel me?
Nice. All right, this is called One Gotta Go. I'm gonna give you two options. You gotta pick the one that you're gonna get rid of. All right?
All right. Talk to me.
Artificial intelligence or blockchain?
Blockchain.
Discipline or intuition? Oh yeah, we're not coming to play. These are tailored just for you, bud. If you gotta, add.
I'm gonna say discipline.
Over intuition?
The reason I say discipline is because I think discipline is overrated. Not in the true sense of what discipline is, but in the sense the way the world think of it. I think if you live a meaningful life that's aligned with you, you don't need discipline as much. I think we need so much discipline is because we're doing things we don't want to do, right? But I never want to get rid of my intuition. I feel like that's just a gift from God. Like your intuition is like your psychic connection to the universe. Like you can see patterns and things that you can never see. So as a futurist, I could never get rid of my intuition because then my insights won't be powerful.
Knowledge or wealth?
Ooh. You get rid of wealth?
Get rid of one of them.
Well, if you get rid of wealth, then knowledge is the only true wealth left, depending on who the goddamn smartest. But if I get rid of knowledge, then it's just wealth left and a bunch of ignorant people. So I'm going to have to get rid of wealth.
I like it. This one might be a little crazy. Now that I'm I got it. Malcolm X or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Well, if you get rid of Honorable Elijah Muhammad, there's no Malcolm X. So I would have to say Malcolm X. Because who's going to make him?
Social media validation or consumerism?
Social media validation. Consumerism has always been around. People go always consume. At the same time, you know what? I go for consumerism. You know, I think that we're people that overconsume, and I believe in being prosumers. Produce what you consume, you know, and I think that we're overvalidated through social media, and I think it's a mental health issue at this point in time.
I agree with that last one. That's all I got, man. Another episode of Scottie and Friends. I don't know if you got anything you want to, say or chop out before we get out of here, but I think it was a good one.
You know, first of all, I appreciate you having me on the show.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you coming for sure.
It's been a good time. I look forward to, just treating LA with some more shows and events, and we plan on doing a lot of different things moving forward, and I want to collaborate and work with people in LA area more.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? If you got something going on that's aligned, you can always send me an email at 19keys@19keys.com. If I'm in town, I'll pull up.
Nice.
You feel me? Whether it's a business opportunity, whether you got a podcast, or you feel me, whether it's something for the people, some philanthropic cause. Like, I'm here, you feel me, and I'm a resource. So I plan on being in California just a little longer than I was last year. At least y'all get me now before I try to leave America for good.
Uh-oh. You get out of here?
Maybe like 3 to 6 months out the year, man.
Oh, that's cool.
America get too much of my time, man. America ain't even that special.
Is there
When you have the ability to come in and out of America, it's not that special. You feel me? And I think we're not taking the time that we living in serious. I think we kind of playing around with it. I really love the quote that a sufficiently entertained people will never revolt. America is cooked. It's cooked, right?
Go.
I was always taught about the fall of America, but the fall of America wasn't the fall of our world. It was the fall of their world. And a fall can take a long time. Rome was in a transition period for a very long time before what some people say it never fell, and it just transitioned over to the new thing, which some people could consider to be America. And we're in a great transition phase. And I believe this year specifically is a year of everything we do, right, will be setting up the next 10 years. All right. So if you waste your time, you might not get it again. If you waste this cycle, it might not come again. So I just think that people need to really, find some time to hop out the matrix. You feel me? Like, put your phone down. You feel me? Sit and think and reflect. And it's going to be hard. And everybody won't do it. But for the people that got real brilliant minds, we need you. We don't need your mind stuck in it. You feel me? Like, if you're supposed to be one of the leaders, you're supposed to be one of the ones, whatever signal you was looking for, whatever sign you was looking for, let this be it. Whether you just using me as a vessel to make that shift, but we need a lot of real ones activated right now because we at war and we acting like we not.
Man, ladies and gentlemen, 19 Keys, we out here.
Yeah.
Get it.